Welcome to our July 14th edition of Monday Night Memories, and brought to you by our good friends at the Chariot Auto Group and Twin City. Really another special, important player in that team, Nate, this week, our subject, Vinny Sutherland. Nobody forgets Vinny. He's quite the personality, and number 14 was as fast as lightning, and we saw that. But Vinny was a big part of what Drew Brees brought to the table too, as well.
Yeah, no doubt. You think of the speed, you think of the fun, you think of a guy that loved football, and I think we'll all remember him catching that corner end zone touchdown pass in the Rose Bowl. So just a lot of memories of him throughout all his years on Joe Tiller's teams. But Vinny, part of that legendary group of personalities. Coach Tiller talking about character and characters on a football team that's going to be successful. Vinny was definitely one of the characters.
Yeah, no question. Well, without further ado, we'll get this interview with Vinny Sutherland and enjoy it. Again, a key member of that 2000-2001 Rose Bowl team. Alan Karpick here with the legendary number 14, Vinny Sutherland. Still the fastest guy. I think he might be the fastest guy ever to come out of Florida. Is that possible?
No,
but you at least got people's attention because you were unbelievably fast. All Big Ten receiver on the 2000 Rose Bowl team, and obviously we're talking about that. And Vinny, I guess, first we always lament the fact that it's 25 years and that's not possible.
Yeah.
Just looking at it now through the lens of that time and that magical season and an interesting eclectic group of individuals that got it done and coaches. What's your takeaway now looking back at it through the lens? I hate to say the words like quarter century, but I'll say quarter century since it's been that long.
I look back. We were. I thought we were a fun team. We were a bunch of guys. Led by obviously one Mr. Drew Brees, and we took on the identity of our offensive line. They were all just exceptional, and really few great pieces on defense. Tim Stratton. I think we were as good as anybody in college that year. We'd have been a tough game for anyone. When you got Drew Brees, you got a puncher's chance against anyone.
Well, when you go through that season and you start out, and so a lot of guys have talked about even in your sophomore year how you go out to USC and play in the week 0 game. I guess was it? I need to look this up. Pigskin Classic or Kickoff Classic? I can't remember, but it was the Kickoff Classic. It's only 99 degrees at kickoff. The hottest game in Purdue history, I think it was. But a lot of guys have talked about the fact that, you lose that game, though you were ahead at half and it was a competitive game, obviously, but that you end up going to the Rose Bowl to visit. We have a good picture of you on a roller coaster. I think Tom Campbell took at Universal. But then he takes you to the Rose Bowl, and Joe Tiller had some bigger, and you guys had some bigger plans in mind. Did that weigh into what did that do? Or did that change your stream of consciousness as you look forward to, I got to get to we got to get back to this?
Well, I don't know. Being a Florida boy, I would always prefer the Orange Bowl, but no. And in all seriousness, that was a neat place, man. And you grow up watching football your whole life. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And, being a Florida kid, to see it with, see it live and in color, it was neat. It was neat. Yeah. We were desperate to get there.
Yeah. And when you had that chance, the 2000 season rolls around. Yes, it's your last year. And a sense, there's always your senior year, there's a sense of urgency. I get it. And that season started out with obviously 2 relatively easy wins against Central Michigan and Kent State. Notre Dame, you make a touchdown reception with about 2 minutes to go, and you think, gosh, you're going to get out of there alive. Nice jumping catch from Drew to put Purdue ahead down, and then you don't get out of there alive. what do you recall from that? And that and you were there in the '98 game at Notre Dame. Those were always tough games there in terms of playing at Notre Dame. But anything that you recall specifically about that moment and just that disappointment?
I thought sure we were going to win that. That was the way I remember. That wasn't even a very good Notre Dame team.
Yeah, Gary Godsey.
Terrible.
I hate to bring that up, but go ahead.
Terrible quarterback from Tampa.
Yeah, you're right. A tight end.
Yeah, exactly. And he had his best day against us.
Yeah, things happen, but and then you come back. You only throw the ball 22 times in that game, and I'm going to talk to Jim Chaney about that. He's still.
Yeah, yell at him for me, will you?
Yeah, and I get it. When you got the best receiver in the Big Ten, you got the best quarterback in the country, or at least at a Hall of Fame level quarterback, certainly as it turned out. But you beat Minnesota the following week, and then you go to Penn State. And my question is, you're sitting there and that was obviously your first conference loss, and had to have some level of soul searching there because you can't lose. It's hard to lose 2 games in the Big Ten and make the Rose Bowl, though you guys proved you could. But anything that you remember about that game at Penn State? And I know you had some special teams issues, which wasn't your issue, but a tough way to lose to a Penn State that also wasn't a great team that year.
Yeah, that was not. Again, we played Penn State a couple years, 2 years prior. I think they were number 1 and like number 3 in the country, and they pretty much beat us right at the end of those years. And then, to go 0-4 against that team makes me want to throw up. But it's the way it goes. And that, again, I think they only had 1 or 2 Big Ten wins that year, and of course, one of them against us.
Yeah, it's an interesting tidbit. As good as you were, and you played the best in the Big Ten, Illinois and Iowa, you did not play that year, and they were not as good. Kirk Ferentz's second year, I think. Ferentz's year, but you lose to Michigan State and you lose to Penn State, two of the bottom teams in the league. Though they weren't, losing on the road is never a shame. But take me now back to Michigan at halftime. And I've said this to everybody, nobody can believe it, but I believe it's true. It's the biggest comeback in the history of Purdue football. No Purdue team has ever been 18 points behind and come back to win. But what do you remember? You were kind of a happy-go-lucky dude, but you were at halftime. You're down 28-10. What do you recall anything in particular about what the message from the head coach or your OC was at that time?
I remember, I think we were moving the ball okay in that game. Yeah. So on the offensive side, I remember we were pretty loose. Like we knew we were going to be able to move the ball. And the way I remember that game is they weren't totally just bloodying our defense. I think they clipped us with some big plays. I think had like a long screen.
Yep.
And they were just, we got chunked. And we needed to do that to them to win.
Yeah.
Which, we were able to, again, I think we came out of the half and I was able to, that's when I popped that little out and I just.
No, that's what I want to talk to you about is that was the play. I think that is one of the biggest plays of the season because it was a little out cut. And then all of a sudden you get it and you run away. You outrun Michigan's, that doesn't happen a lot with that secondary. Maybe Michigan's defense may not have been quite as good, but they have speed back there and you raced them and beat them to the end zone. All of a sudden that game's a football game. What do you remember from that play? Because it was an outcut you were caught it on the northwest corner and then zipped back across the field for a touchdown. Changed the focus of that, changed the focus of that game, certainly.
Usually when you run that route, you usually want to just try to catch it, turn up, get what you can. But the guy played off. So I knew if I was to roll it out and he stayed high on me, I could maybe turn it back in. And he did. He overplayed me and I turned it back in. And that was all she wrote.
Yeah. And that was a big play. All right. I have to ask a few, where were you when it happened questions. Obviously you're on the field all the time and as the top receiver on the team. But when you looked at Travis Dorsch and the fact that you missed that field goal and you didn't miss it, but 3 minutes to go in the game, and it looks like, oh, God, you're not going to get it done. Drew Henson does you a favor, or Lloyd Carr does you a little bit of a favor by choosing to throw on first down gave you a little bit of clock, gave you a chance. What do you recall not only from getting the ball and getting Travis in position, but also that notion that he gets that second chance? And did you think he had it all the way? Do you intend to not worry about things you can't control?
Yeah,
How did you look at that?
I do vaguely remember him throwing on first down, which was absolutely fantastic. Now, he was an exceptional quarterback. I do remember that.
Oh, Drew Henson's absolutely was, yeah.
And, that being at our house, we had to win that one. I mean,
yeah.
Otherwise, you don't get too many shots to beat those guys. And we knew we were as good or possibly better than them. So we needed to get that one.
Yeah. You think about Drew Henson, who he shared time with the year before, a guy named Tom Brady. So
yeah.
And you had a touchdown game in that 99 game at the Big House.
Yeah.
Not as good a day for Purdue that day, but yes, Tom Brady was the quarterback for the Wolverines.
Yeah, we played in some dumping rain that day.
Yeah, it wasn't a great day. You had the next week at Ohio State. It wasn't a very good day.
I'm pretty sure I was concussed in that game because I don't remember. I had a long touchdown. I sure as heck don't remember it.
Yeah. When you go back and then obviously you win that one and another one of where were you now? A huge, you go up to Northwestern and you had a good game up there and you pretty much rolled over Northwestern, beat them 41-28. It wasn't really all that close. A team that ends up sharing the Big Ten championship with you guys. But the following week at Wisconsin, you're in a dogfight and then some. And it always is a dogfight up there. But heck, Purdue has won up there once since, but has not won at home against the Badgers since your freshman year, if you can believe that. And so, where were you when Aiken makes the sack? They kick a long field goal, and I assume you're standing on the sidelines like everybody else, watching Craig Terrell make the block and Ashanti pick that up and do the scoop and score down the field. But what do you remember?
If you watch that tape, I'm actually literally standing next to Tiller.
Yeah.
And then as he's running, I turn around to him and then we realize we had it. And then I have like a big old thing of actually me and him hugging. Might be one of the only hugs I got.
I was going to say, how many times did that happen?
was it? But, we did. We snuck out of there with a win, which is kind of crazy. We were better than them, I thought.
Yeah.
But again, playing there is miserable.
Yeah, that notion of having that type of play and again, Craig Terrell and somebody talks about that sound of a block kick. You hear that double sound, and then all of a sudden it's rolling.
It's one of the
thump, right? And
sound or it breaks your heart.
Yeah, it does. All right, you go back, and then obviously the following week, Ohio State, and a game that you guys had up. You were up 10 points. They return a kick for a touchdown and get ahead of you down the stretch. Seth Morales gets the glory on the play. I get that, and you did some good things that game as well. But take me through that play and what you remember, because Seth, as the legend has it, was the fourth choice. AT was the third. You or John Staniford were 1 and 2 on that play. But what do you remember coming out of the huddle, if you remember anything specific about that experience?
I just remember we needed to just, put a drive together, which if you remember that game, we did not have a problem moving the ball.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, one thing that eats me, another game where I needed an IV, but, Nate Clement, and I'll tell him this to his face.
Yeah,
he doesn't get that punt return if I'm there, because we did a really excellent job of, when Dorsch got the kickoff clean, to just kick it over where to me, and I'd get anybody at most of the time to just fair catch it.
Yeah.
And I was in the locker room at the time, and what happened.
Were you having hydration issues or?
No, like every game.
Yeah.
It's always at the worst time.
Yeah.
So, and that almost cost us the game.
Yeah, well, that's right, because he makes. Was it a punt or a kickoff? Was it a punt?
It was a punt. He got
and you were you a gunner?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
and you got that 80-yard return, and in a vital game like that, it's a killer.
All right, so
we were fortunate we overcame that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, then
I thought our did all right in that game. It's just we left them out there a lot.
Yeah, and when you look at the season was an interesting one because you obviously had some very high moments and the highest of highs down the stretch. But Michigan State the following week, or 2 weeks later, you had a week off actually, and a huge thing from the way the standings turned out. Northwestern turns around and beats Michigan your bye week. Then Iowa comes back and beats Northwestern, key for you guys getting there. And you guys did not have your best day at Michigan State. Michigan State ran the ball kind of down your throat, as I recall, on a cold day, and you just didn't have it. Anything that comes to mind from that game?
Well, I was begging for it outside. I knew I could get behind their guys.
Yeah,
I know I got one, but it was a tough day. I think we had a bunch of 3 and outs, and they did a really good job of keeping the ball from us.
Yeah, they did, and they ran the football. And T.J. Duckett had a big day, just barreling down the field, and it was hard to start. All right, you get back to Indiana, and yes, it was the coronation of the king that day, I suppose. Doesn't get much better than that. There's some great pictures of you with roses in your mouth and being there. But what now through the lens of 25 years? What is that game? What does that mean? That you're all in the field on a very cold night, but a game that I think you ran 27 straight off tackle plays. Yeah. Montrell Lowe, I don't know if you didn't have a whole lot of work in the second half because you didn't. I don't know. I think you only threw like 1 or 2 passes in the second half in that game. But what do you remember from that one?
We knew we were going to smash IU again.
Yeah, something you did every year.
That was always a pleasure. Beating the stepchild from down south.
Yeah, and
I have about zero respect for them.
Yeah, you a year earlier had of course, the game in Bloomington had that punt return that was a huge part of getting out of there alive. But what was it like being on that field now? You think about that and all the work that you guys put in over a 4-year period. You were one of the key guys in that 1997 recruiting class that came in with not a lot of accolades. I get it. You provided
the last place recruiting.
Yeah, that's another way of saying that. But you had the chance to get it done, and what was it like standing on that podium on that cold November evening in Ross-Ade Stadium?
Well, that was the senior night. My parents were there, my little brother was there, and it was I had a lot of other family there too, my uncles and stuff. And it was cold. I when you're playing it, you don't
doesn't matter, does
feel
it?
it. And I remember looking at my dad; he was freezing. But it was a fun night, and we had every bit of confidence we were going to beat that team.
Yeah,
like we always did.
Yeah,
and it was a lot of fun. Stepping on you was always fun.
All right, now you are an answer to a trivia question that you probably don't even know, but you might. Name the 3 Purdue football players to ever score touchdowns in the Rose Bowl. And that would be Vinny Sutherland. Who else scored in that game against Washington? Cedric Brown.
That's right.
And Bob Greasy, right? So there you go. Bob Greasy scored both touchdowns in the game back in 1967. But what was that like, just getting the chance to run on that field finally? As I've said in several of these interviews, one of my favorite pictures that Tom Campbell took, not only your touchdown reception, but you guys running on the field and Danny Hope and Jim Lathrop. Hope Danny turns around like his tongue is out, and Lathrop, and they're running on the field. It's a classic picture of just being an exhilarating experience. What was that like for you?
That was fun. I mean, I think the wake up was being in the tunnel when that jet went overhead.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That was when it became real quick.
Yeah, that still
we came out of the gate slow, man. I remember our fan base needed that one, man. We wanted to win that so damn bad. I think the Purdue fans, they're just the greatest people ever, and man, I just wanted to bring that one home.
About 30,000 of them at that game, and it was still an experience myself and anybody else that was on the sideline watching will never forget. All right. What else when you put your head on the pillow and you think about that experience and the fact that you're one of two teams in Purdue history to make it to the Rose Bowl, the last team to win the Big Ten championship or a share of it, what does that mean to you?
We had a lot of pride, that team. I think that we had the right captains, we had the right people, and like I said, we had Drew, and we really had the identity of that hugely talented offensive line.
Yeah.
That was, I think we had the right captains in the right place. You know what I mean? I think that, a figure like a Donald Winston, Breeze, the whole offensive line, and Aiken, and we were very fortunate that, Schweigert and Ralph Turner came in and really played well. We had some young linebackers, and they really filled in those holes and got us to where we got.
Yeah, Gilbert Gardner. I mean, think about all those freshmen. Sean Phillips, who was more of a rush end. Craig Terrell played a lot of course, he was a redshirt guy, but a lot of freshmen made a huge difference on that defense. And that defense.
Joe Odom was young. He was a big part of it. Craig Terrell. Brent Botts went down during that, and he was our starting D tackle next to Mitrione, and Craig Terrell came in, and I mean, I thought was overachieving until I figured out this guy had a 10-year pro career and was absolutely exceptional. But everybody filled in, and everybody bought in and did their part.
Well, you are forever legendary because you're part of that team and a big part of that team. Obviously, Vinny Sutherland. We are grateful for your time and always good talking. We hope to see you in West Lafayette whenever that celebration game of that team. I'm sure the Purdue Athletics will get something put together, but it'll be fun to have you and a lot of your teammates there for that.
Me and the wife will be up there for that second game, the night game. We're excited, and then hopefully, if I need to get up there again, hopefully it's a 3:30 game and we can fly up day of because I coach down here.
Yeah, and bring us quickly up to speed of what's going on in your professional and personal life that you care to share. You're coaching, so tell me a little bit about that. Tell our group.
I was just a high school down here in Martin County. I've been coaching that for a few years.
Yeah.
Been married 5 years. I got a 21-year-old. Nothing. I try to get up to a few games a year up there. My wife and I, we flew out to the Final Four.
That was fun. I think I saw you. Yeah.
I wanted that one for the fan base too, man. We're stars. We got to get one.
I think this year, if things roll right, they're going to be right there again, but we'll see.
Oh man, I'm praying. They're
a lot of fun to watch, and no doubt. And you're again been around Barry Odom enough that you like the direction of what Barry's bringing to the table and what this coaching staff can do. And it's a big job, but you like what you see so far.
Yeah, I think he's the kind of guy you need at the helm if you're doing a rebuild. I just think, like I said, I think Walters had some high-end talent, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Like I said, I think he wore too many hats. I think he had some bad hires, and the rest is history. This team is gonna, bring your lunchbox kind of team, and they're gonna have to grind.
We'll look forward to that. We'll look forward to seeing you up in Ross-Ade Stadium that week 2 against Southern Illinois, a night game, and hopefully also a team celebration. Vinny, thanks so much for your time. Always enjoyed it, and we appreciate it so much.
You got it. My pleasure. Boiler up.
Thank you to our guests from the 2000 Rose Bowl team, and of course, our sponsor, Chariot Auto Group, Twin City, and Nate Barrett and all the good folks there. We'll have another edition of Monday Night Memories with members of the 2000 Big Ten Championship 2001 Rose Bowl team next Monday, and we'll continue this throughout the summer months and possibly even into the football season. So thanks to all for watching and listening, and have a great rest of your week.